Jurassic World Dominion isn't Jurassic World 3, it's Jurassic Park VI. Here's everything you need to know about the new dinosaurs and old friends you'll see in this supersized super sequel. Steven Spielberg's Jaws is often credited as the birth of the summer blockbuster, but his adaptation of Michael Crichton's most famous novel was an equally important benchmark in filmmaking. Released in 1993, Jurassic Park was truly game-changing. CGI was still considered a novelty at the time, but Spielberg and his team proved beyond any doubt that it was more than a passing fad. Spielberg's friend and colleague George Lucas said after seeing the first test shots of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, it was like one of those moments in history, like the invention of the light bulb or the first telephone call. A major gap had been crossed and things were never going to be the same. Visual effects improved exponentially as the years passed, even if the quality of Jurassic Park movies did not. 2 subpar sequels followed, leaving the franchise on the brink of extinction. It wasn't until 2015, 14 years after the particularly lackluster Jurassic Park III, that we returned to the dino-infested islands off the coast of Costa Rica. While Jurassic World didn't quite capture the magic of Spielberg's original, critics agreed that it was the best entry since Jurassic Park. The 2018 follow-up, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, was far more divisive, but it still made over $1 billion at the global box office, making another sequel inevitable. Here's everything we know so far about the third Jurassic World, revealed in February 2020 to be titled Jurassic World Dominion. A third film became a certainty when Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom made over $1 billion, but a Jurassic World trilogy was actually the plan all along. Speaking at the Toronto International Film Festival back in 2016, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom helmer J.A. Bayona confirmed that Colin Trevorrow, director of Jurassic World and co-writer of Fallen Kingdom, had a 3-movie arc in mind from the beginning. Bayona told LRM Online, "The whole Jurassic World is a trilogy that Colin Trevorrow has envisioned. It's very interesting where he's leading the story." Universal had so much confidence in its resurgent franchise that it announced a date for the third Jurassic World film before Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was even out. 4 months before Fallen Kingdom premiered, The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that Universal had set a release date of June 11, 2021 for the movie. The fact that Universal sees Jurassic World Dominion as a summer event doesn't come as much of a surprise, but a summer 2021 release date was thrown into jeopardy in March 2020 when production on Jurassic World Dominion ceased amid the coronavirus outbreak. The blockbuster was being filmed at Pinewood Studios near London, the most affected city in the UK. Pinewood remains operational, but the Jurassic World Dominion cast and crew were ordered to abandon ship. The good news is that filming resumed in July 2020. The bad news is that the movie didn't make its June 11, 2021 release date. Instead, it's set to hit theaters on June 10, 2022. Jurassic World fans will be thrilled to know that Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are reprising their roles as Owen Grady and Claire Dearing. Thanks to the Jurassic World Dominion trailer, we also know that Isabella Sermon is returning as Maisie Lockwood, who, as you probably remember, freed the dinosaurs at the end of Fallen Kingdom. The trio has been living together since the events of the last film, with Owen and Claire becoming Maisie's guardians. However, these aren't the only familiar faces returning for Dominion, as the original Jurassic Park trio of Ian Malcolm, Ellie Sattler, and Alan Grant also prepare to reunite on screen. Jeff Goldblum all but confirmed their return during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live.
"I can't divulge anything, but maybe."
In September 2019, Trevorrow finally made it official. The director revealed that Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill all had key roles in the upcoming sequel, bringing the franchise full circle. Neill, Dern, and Goldblum have all reprised their iconic roles since starring in 1993's Jurassic Park together, but this core trio hasn't featured in the same movie since appearing in the franchise opener all those years ago. Goldblum's Dr. Ian Malcolm popped up most recently, though his part in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was little more than a glorified cameo. Speaking to Empire, Trevorrow explained why he chose to hold off on throwing the legacy characters into the mix properly until this moment. The filmmaker said, "We'd have had to come up with a reason why Ellie, Malcolm, and Grant all went to the theme park on the exact same day it broke down. Again, the next film allows the legacy characters to be a part of the story in an organic way. Co-writer Emily Carmichael and I call it Jurassic Park VI because it is." Justice Smith's Franklin Webb and Daniela Pineda's Zia Rodriguez were both introduced during Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, aiding the main stars in their efforts to stop the movie's villainous, money-hungry mercenaries. Franklin, a Jurassic World IT technician turned hacker, and Zia, an ex-military paleo-veterinarian, were on Isla Nublar representing the Dinosaur Protection Group. Both had close shaves when the dinosaurs they were there to protect wreaked havoc on the island, but they escaped with their lives, meaning a return in the third Jurassic World film was always a possibility. Now their comeback has been confirmed. Smith, best known for his lead role in live-action Pokémon movie Detective Pikachu, and Pineda, who appeared in Netflix's Cowboy Bebop series, have both agreed to reprise their Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom roles in the upcoming sequel. It's a chance for the two characters to develop their relationship, which Smith claims is most definitely platonic. The actor told Slash Film it's not romantic, not in the slightest.
We're not compatible.
The way Smith describes it, Franklin and Zia are more like brother and sister, he explained. She kinda just picks on him. He tries to give it back to her and she always ends up shutting him down. That just represents the bond that they have. They've worked together for so long trying to save these dinosaurs. After the release of Fallen Kingdom, Pineda revealed that a scene confirming that Zia was a lesbian had been cut from the film. Hopefully Jurassic World Dominion will take the time to develop this aspect of her character. Jake Johnson put in a scene-stealing performance as Lowry Crothers in Jurassic World, so the news that he wouldn't be returning for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was a blow for fans of the easygoing control room worker.
I understand people died, it was terrible, but that first park was legit.
Colin Trevorrow told Den of Geek that Johnson, who starred with Aubrey Plaza in the director's critically acclaimed sci-fi rom-com Safety Not Guaranteed, didn't show up in the first Jurassic World sequel because there wasn't a, quote, genuine, organic way to make it not seem like he's just in it because he was a great character in a previous film. Now that the dinosaurs are out, however, there's an opportunity to bring characters that weren't dumb enough to return to Isla Nublar in the second film back into the story. Johnson will reprise his role in Jurassic World Dominion. And he isn't the only returning cast member from the first film. French actor Omar Sy, best known for international crossover hit The Intouchables, has also signed up for the threequel. The European star played raptor handler Barry Sembene in Jurassic World, a friend and colleague of Chris Pratt's Owen Grady, Sy posted to Instagram. And here we go again. It's safe to say that the Jurassic World Dominion cast is stacked. However, that's not stopped director Colin Trevorrow from adding several fresh faces to the film, too. In 2019, Deadline confirmed that Black Box star Mamadou Ati had joined the franchise and will take on the role of Biosyn employee Ramsey Cole. The following day, the outlet reported that DeWanda Wise has also joined the cast of Dominion as pilot Kayla Watts. Wise spoke to Empire about her upcoming role, revealing a couple of details about her character. Kayla, she says, is fresh out of the Air Force and her main thing is flying cargo, mostly dinosaur stuff. Thanks to the trailer, we also know that Wise's character gets up close and personal with a few dinosaurs during the film, but never fear because she's working alongside Chris Pratt's Owen Grady. Jurassic World Dominion marks Irish musician and actor Elva Trill's first international movie role. Not only is this her biggest role to date, but the actor admitted to the Irish Independent that joining the franchise was a dream role for her since she was a huge fan of Jurassic Park as a child. Trill is set to play Charlotte Lockwood. Not much is known about the character, but it is possible she's somehow appearing as the daughter of Benjamin Lockwood, who is Maisie's genetic template. The last installment of the Jurassic World franchise left viewers with scenes of dinosaurs roaming around North America after Maisie Lockwood freed them, arguing that they had as much a right to live as she did. Now there's no going back. Dominion picks up after the events of Fallen Kingdom as the dinosaurs have essentially taken over the world. As Dr. Ian Malcolm puts it in the threequel's first trailer, humans are now racing toward the extinction of our species.
We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
Colin Trevorrow revealed to Collider that the plot of Jurassic World Dominion doesn't follow a traditional movie structure. Instead, the film follows two parallel tracks. On one side, you have Owen, Claire, and Maisie, and on the other side, you have Ellie, Ian, and Alan. Trevorrow said, "We're telling two parallel stories that are just driving closer and closer together, and you start to understand how they're going to intersect, and then they do." The film's second trailer revealed a few details about what's going to be happening in Owen, Claire, and Maisie's side of the story. It begins by reuniting Owen and Blue and the revelation that the Velociraptor had a baby. However, moments later, the baby is kidnapped. Owen vows to get her back, but based on past experience, we know it's not going to be an easy mission. Meanwhile, the original trio are racing against the clock to stop an ecological disaster.
The doomsday clock might be about out of time.
So now we have a bit more insight into what happens in Jurassic World Dominion. The big question is, when does it happen? In an interview with MTV News, Chris Pratt let slip that the film would follow the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but implied that a significant amount of time would have passed. Since there was a 3-year gap between the events of Jurassic World in 2015 and Fallen Kingdom in 2018, speculation was rife that Dominion would also follow this pattern and be set in 2021. This made sense given the film's intended 2021 release date. However, since it was pushed back a year, that turned out not to be the case. Speaking to Collider, director Colin Trevorrow confirmed that it's set in real time, and because the release date was pushed back, the film is now presumably set in 2022. This time jump is important both in terms of how far the dinosaurs have spread and integrated themselves into the wider world, but also in terms of the appearance of the cast. Maisie Lockwood was a child of 9 years old in Fallen Kingdom, but when Dominion picks up, she's a teenager. There's one last addition to the slew of new faces in Jurassic World Dominion, and it's quite a significant one. In June 2020, Collider announced that Campbell Scott had joined the cast. The Amazing Spider-Man actor will play Lewis Dodson, a nearly forgotten character from the first Jurassic Park. Colin Trevorrow held nothing back when he spoke to Entertainment Weekly about the character, revealing exactly what viewers could expect from Dodson. He revealed, "He is the main villain throughout both of Crichton's novels, and I think what Campbell's done with the character is just amazing. I can't wait for people to see it." However, there's one other villain in the Jurassic World franchise who's still unaccounted for. B.D. Wong's character Dr. Henry Wu was tipped to be the film's big bad given his past track record. If you've forgotten, he's responsible for bringing the dinosaurs back to life. However, he may have had a change of heart. In the movie's second trailer, Wu can be seen speaking to Maisie Lockwood, and he appears a little contrite.
We made a terrible mistake.
Now that his genetic experiments have resulted in dinosaurs walking the Earth for real this time, perhaps he's changed sides this time around. Every new Jurassic movie is an opportunity to introduce some previously unseen species of dinosaur, and Jurassic World Dominion is no different. Colin Trevorrow has been overseeing the selection process since coming aboard for 2015's Jurassic World, but he's had a little help from his colleagues. He told Jurassic Outpost in 2018, "I've been lucky enough to be able to choose the dinosaurs, but Derek Connolly and J.A. Bayona and now Emily Carmichael will have each made contributions when it's all said and done. It's just a bunch of kids sitting on the floor with their toys." The filmmaker clearly relishes flicking through his dino Rolodex and handpicking the perfect dinosaur for each specific scene, but it's not all fun and games, he continued. "It's the best part of my job, but also the hardest. You have to keep some great ones in the tank." Trevorrow explained that he liked the look of both the Carnotaurus and the Baryonyx when he was putting the pieces of Jurassic World together, but he didn't want to see them reduced to background dinosaurs. As he put it, "They deserve an entrance, so he put them on the park map but held the reveal for the second film." Which dinosaurs has Trevorrow been holding back for Jurassic World Dominion? That would be the Giganotosaurus. This is a scientifically accurate dino from the Cretaceous period that's set to wreak havoc on the world's human population. Trevorrow explained to Empire, "I wanted something that felt like the Joker. It just wants to watch the world burn."
See, I'm not a monster.
Colin Trevorrow clearly wasn't the right fit for Star Wars. After all, the director was fired from Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, over creative differences, despite having dedicated 2 years of his life to the project.
I don't blame people for their mistakes, but I do ask that they pay for them.
But when it comes to the Jurassic franchise, he's now the go-to guy. He only had the indie hit Safety Not Guaranteed to his name when he was chosen to helm Jurassic World, but Trevorrow apparently handled the big-budget blockbuster like a seasoned pro, impressing the man behind the movie that started it all. During his Entertainment Weekly interview, Trevorrow revealed that Steven Spielberg personally asked him to helm the third Jurassic World film, an offer that he simply couldn't refuse. "Steven Spielberg asked me to direct, and when he asks you, what can I tell you, man? In all honesty, over my past few years, I've grown to love and cherish the value of the gift that I've been given with this franchise." Interestingly, Trevorrow only came aboard the franchise after J.A. Bayona turned down the chance to direct Jurassic World. While Bayona later agreed to take the reins for Fallen Kingdom, Spielberg apparently wanted Trevorrow back in the hot seat for the all-important trilogy capper. 14 years passed between Jurassic Park III and Jurassic World, though that long gap wasn't down to a lack of trying. Numerous sequels were reportedly floated during that period. The one that got closest to getting greenlit came by way of screenwriter John Sayles. Jurassic Park IV never got off the ground, but what's interesting is that a lot of Sayles' ideas ended up being used in Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. The star of Sayles' story was an unemployed mercenary named Nick Harris, who seems very much like the blueprint for Chris Pratt's ex-Navy man, Owen Grady. Most notably, it was Sayles who came up with the idea of shady types attempting to train dinosaurs as weapons, the overarching theme of the Jurassic World trilogy. If this unused screenplay influenced the two recent movies, does it also contain clues as to where Jurassic World Dominion is heading? According to Den of Geek, Sayles' draft touches on the idea of an America plagued by rogue dinosaurs, with the United States facing its biggest ever threat. A corporate stooge spots a business opportunity. We know that some of the black market bidders from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom escaped the ill-fated auction with their dinosaur specimens. Who will the US government turn to when all seems lost? If this Jurassic World 3 theory holds true, humans will fight dinosaurs with their own dinosaurs in an effort to stave off extinction.
If I don't make it back, remember, you're the one who made me come.
In September 2019, a short film directed by Colin Trevorrow and written by Trevorrow and Emily Carmichael dropped on the official Jurassic World YouTube channel. The 8-minute Jurassic World Dominion prelude confirms that the movie will indeed take place in an America inhabited by rogue dinosaurs. Battle at Big Rock features a family on a camping trip in Big Rock, a national park 20 miles from Lockwood Manor, the mansion that the dinosaurs escaped from at the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. The family's bonding time is interrupted when a Triceratops and its baby show up and start digging through their food. They watch from the safety of their trailer, though the trailer doesn't offer much protection when a hungry Allosaurus arrives on the scene. After being fought off by the parents of the little Triceratops, the carnivore notices the tasty-looking humans and attacks. Fortunately, a fellow camper brought a crossbow along, and the daughter is a pretty good shot. The family escapes with their lives, but the implications are clear. Woodland areas are no longer safe for humans.
How did I get all the way up here?
They migrate. There was one in the woods near my school.
The short's credits suggest that these attacks are going to be commonplace by the time we catch up with the gang in Jurassic World Dominion. We know that dinosaurs will be lurking in the wilderness thanks to the short film, but will these ancient animals be terrorizing our cities too? According to Trevorrow, this won't be the case. Speaking to fan site Jurassic Outpost, the director and co-writer of the upcoming threequel said that there's no motivation for that kind of behavior. They can't organize. Right now, we've got lethal predators in wild areas surrounding cities all over the world. They don't go pack hunting for humans in urban areas. The world I get excited about is the one where it's possible that a dinosaur might run out in front of your car on a foggy back road or invade your campground looking for food. This will be music to the ears of those who were starting to get worried about Jurassic World Dominion becoming a CGI-heavy disaster movie. The idea of raptors running rampant in Times Square or a Tyrannosaurus tearing down Hollywood Boulevard might sound cool in theory, but that's not what this franchise is about. Thankfully, Trevorrow is well aware of this. The director wants to create a world where dinosaur interaction is unlikely but possible, the same way we watch out for bears or sharks. We hunt animals, we traffic them, we herd them, we breed them, we invade their territory and pay the price, but we don't go to war with them. While they're obviously works of fiction, the Jurassic movies have informed our understanding of dinosaurs in a number of ways, particularly their appearance. The movies have always played into the old idea of dinosaurs as giant, scaly beasts. That didn't seem like much of a problem when Jurassic Park premiered in 1993, but in recent years it has become evident that they weren't actually as reptile-like as we like to think. Fossils unearthed in China have revealed that dinosaurs belonging to the raptor family were actually covered in feathers rather than scales. And in 2014, a discovery in Serbia appeared to confirm that all dinosaurs shared this trait. What does this mean for the future of the Jurassic franchise? When Jurassic Outpost raised the feather question with Colin Trevorrow, the director said that he would not alter the appearance of dinosaurs we've already seen in the previous movies. Those are established characters to me. They were made with reptilian DNA bridging the gaps in the genome, and they have their own identity. However, he also added that, now we're headed into a world in which the ability to clone a dinosaur is no longer exclusive to Dr. Henry Wu. That leads to innovation and new opportunities for us to introduce species that represent the full spectrum of our knowledge. When Colin Trevorrow sat down with Empire to discuss the Battle at Big Rock short film in September 2019, the director revealed some interesting information about the animatronics that were currently being created for the upcoming sequel. It had previously been reported that Oscar-winning creature and special makeup effects supervisor Neil Scanlon would be returning to ply his trade on the follow-up, but that won't be the case. Scanlon, perhaps best known for his work on the Star Wars sequel trilogy and spin-offs, has chosen to pursue other projects. Scanlon has been replaced by John Nolan, who did some pretty amazing work on The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. In an appearance on the Empire Film Podcast, Trevorrow said, "If any of you have seen The Dark Crystal on Netflix, John Nolan, who did all of the animatronics for The Dark Crystal, is doing the animatronics on Jurassic World 3. He's really innovating in a really exciting way." Jurassic World and a large part of its sequel, Fallen Kingdom, were set on the fictional Isla Nublar, a remote island off the coast of Costa Rica, so most of this filming took place in Hawaii. The latter half of Fallen Kingdom is set in North California, but was filmed in the UK, both on location in Berkshire and Hampshire and at Pinewood Studios. The cast and crew ventured further afield to film the third installment of the Jurassic World franchise, which is a big globe-hopping adventure, as Colin Trevorrow told Collider. However, because of these global locations, the movie was deeply affected by the pandemic lockdown. Once production could resume, filming began again at Pinewood Studios, but also took place in new, exciting locations like Malta and British Columbia. This globe-trotting is not just a picturesque plot device either. It shows just how far across the world these dinosaurs have spread. Dominion has a different tone than the past Jurassic World movies, but Trevorrow is excited for fans to see it. It's got a little bit of Bourne and Bond and a bit of a spy movie thrown into it too. Spy movie science thriller with dinosaurs. In September 2020, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous premiered on Netflix. The Dinos spin-off series follows 6 teens as they attend an adventure camp on Isla Nublar. However, their trip is quickly interrupted when the dinosaurs escape their habitats, and the campers must try to find a way off the island alive. Jurassic World Dominion director Colin Trevorrow co-wrote the show, which is still part of the Jurassic franchise but aimed at younger audiences. He stressed to Entertainment Weekly that Camp Cretaceous is its own story. However, thanks to Trevorrow's involvement, the series does share a similar tone to the upcoming film. As we take the Jurassic franchise into a new place where it's about humans and dinosaurs sharing the planet as we do with animals, it gives us an opportunity to make more character stories with people you know and love and care about. That's really our same exercise on the show. Although he wants to acknowledge the films and series separately, Trevorrow told the outlet that it felt important to him to acknowledge Camp Cretaceous in the films too, so there will definitely be some tie-ins. He clarified exactly what fans could expect when speaking to Collider. What may be coming in the future of Camp Cretaceous will tie in a bit more directly to something in Dominion. Jurassic World was always billed as a trilogy, meant to continue the story of Jurassic Park but for a new generation. However, with its financial success, it makes sense that Universal Pictures might want to extend the franchise further.
Back for more, huh?
However, it appears the cast and crew are quite divided on whether there is a future for the Jurassic film franchise or not. Actor Chris Pratt seems ready to put the dinosaur franchise to bed after Dominion, a film which he said feels like the end on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Director Colin Trevorrow issued a similar sentiment to Collider, saying, "For the last 3 movies, I've done with it what I thought was a cool way to move it forward and to respect what Steven and what Michael Crichton have created." Although he added he's only a custodian of the Jurassic franchise, which is much bigger than him, and he couldn't speak to its future, it sounds like he might be ready to call it a day. Jurassic World producer Frank Marshall takes a different view, however. He told Collider, quote, "It's a new era. What that could mean for the future of the franchise is unclear. But what we do know is that viewers can expect Dominion to bring the main Jurassic World storylines to a close." Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite movies and TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.